Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to have a very dynamic and I'm sure insightful discussion into the next steps for Thai and Hong Kong gemstone and jewellery trade, beating the crisis. I'm very pleased to introduce you all to Mrs. Chanunpat, who is the Executive Director of the Thai Trade Centre in Hong Kong. Hello, Mrs. Chanunpat, how are you today?
Sawadika. Sawadika. Nice to meet you all. My name is Chanunpat. I'm a Trade Commissioner and Consul at the Thai Consulate in Hong Kong. And my another positions here is called Executive Director at the Thai Trade Center in Hong Kong. Is under the Department of International Trade Promotion, Ministry of Commerce of Thailand. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much. We're now going to show a short video which shows the last edition of the Bangkok Gems and Jewellery Fair. And then Mrs. Chanunpat is going to give a presentation about the outlook for Thai Hong Kong gems and jewellery trade. So let's show the video. Great, well, thank you so much for that. It was great to see the video with the sound, really nice video, and brought back some special memories of having attended the Bangkok Gems and Jewellery Fair in February this year before the lockdown. Just to remind everybody that the next trade fair of the Bangkok Gems and Jewellery Fair has been rescheduled to the 23rd to the 27th of February 2021. There will be a special online edition of the event between the 2nd and 4th of November. Let's move on to the presentation by Mrs. Chanunpat, talking about the outlook and challenges for Hong Kong, Thai, gem and jewellery trade. Mrs. Chanunpat, over to you, and after that we'll go into our discussion with the panelists.
Okay, thank you. So you all see my presentation?
Yes, very clearly.
Okay, I will start with okay, for today. First of all, I would like to give you an overview of the situation of gems and jewelry business between Hong Kong and Thailand. Okay, no matter, okay, I will start with this one, that no matter Thailand is the with of natural resources, but we also do the import from the world that you may see. Mostly we import gold and diamonds. See, For the diamond, Thailand import from India, Hong Kong, and Israel. For gold, we import from Switzerland, Hong Kong, and Australia. But since the 2020, since the COVID start, we import from Singapore, Hong Kong, and Cambodia. So that you can see Hong Kong is a very important for the Thailand market. So for the export, our key export products is gold, silver jewelries, gold jewelries, polished diamond, polished precious stone, and the polished semi-precious stone. For 2019, you can see that gold, silver, color stone, and other are increasing. However, since January 2020, every item is down. When excluding gold, the revenue is around 36% decreasing. I will go on for the export destination, the key export market of Thailand. You can see that the first one is EU, US, and of course, Hong Kong is very important. And the next one for the overall situation in Hong Kong right now, actually everything import and export is decreasing. Like this one for the import for Hong Kong is decreasing 11% and export is 5%. For the Hong Kong gem and jewelry import value from Thailand, actually mostly decreasing because of the pandemic, I'm sure. And then we will see how can Thailand strengthen the relationship with Hong Kong market to fight with the pandemic. I will start with this one that Thailand has a very strong industry support. The first one, the government, the Department of International Trade Promotion. We do the online and offline platform. For the online, we also have the thaitrade.com. And the offline, we have the Bangkok Gems and Jewelry Fair that you all know. And not only that, we also support with the entrepreneur by give them fund for the SME proactive that they can go for the to go to the trade fair anywhere around the world. So the DITP will support them for the fund. And also we have the public organization, it's called the GIT. That the GIT is the public organization to certify the quality and standard of Thai gem and jewelry in such a way that accepted internationally. During this pandemic situation, the main channel to survive in this business is online, of course. And the GIT has a campaign that's called Buy with Confidence to make sure that the seller who want to sell it online, that they can get the GIT certification to build a confidential buyer. So it's a lot of cheating online. But if you are the buyer, if you see the GIT certification, that you can make sure and confident that it's meet the standard, quality standard with the GIT. Moreover, the ITP in Hong Kong, we also do the strategy to cope with the impact of the COVID-19 to prepare for a sudden boom in the virtual shopping during this time. And we also promote what Thailand can offer, like the showcase potential of our B2B product and to further expose Bangkok Gems and Jewelry Fair to the Hong Kong market and to educate your Hong Kong publics. Not only that, for the digital upgrade, we also use the digital media platform to convey information, shaping Thai jewelry image and connect with traders, like today that we also do the webinar. And we have the collaboration with government and organizations such as the Hong Kong Trade Development Council and the CMA, the Chinese Manufacturer Association of the Hong Kong. And also we have the strategic partner that the SKJJA, SKJMA, and IJDA. The JJA is Hong Kong Jewelry Manufacturers Association, and the SKJMA is the Hong Kong Jewelry Manufacturer Association, and IJDA, of course, International Jewelry Designer Association, that they all comes today. What are the strengths of the Thailand jewelry industry? So Thailand, we have a high quality natural resources, especially that we have the gemstones. in Chanthaburi, the Chanthaburi that we can call the city of gems, and in Trat province, that the home of Siamese rubies. We have gold all around the country in the Prachuap Khiri Khan, Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai, Loi, and the south of Thailand in Narathiwat. And for the silver, we have in the Kanchanaburi. Not only that, in Kanchanaburi, we also have the blue sapphire. Then Thailand have a strength for the strategic location. Thailand has a very good one because we are located in the heart of ASEAN, and we can be the gateway to ASEAN to the about more than 640 million ASEAN population. Same as Hong Kong is a gateway to China. Moreover, we also have ASEAN Hong Kong FTA that already came into force since June 11 last year, and will give on the tariff cut on goods, especially for the precious stone. I think it's about 5 years or 6 years from now. And for the Thailand is also for the ease of doing business. You can see from the index, this one from the World Bank, Hong Kong is number 3, and Thailand is 21st, followed by Germany 22nd, and Canada is 23rd, by Vietnam is 70th. Not only that, from the US News and World Report annual ranking for the best country to start a business in 2020, Thailand is ranked number 1. So make sure that if you want to have a business or factory location to Thailand, we have a lot of benefit for you. Like we have the EEC project, the Eastern Economic Corridor, the Special Economic Zone in Thailand, and many of industrial zones such as like Amata and the Gemburis and Jewelry Business Center like Jewelry Trade Center and Gemopolis Center. For the incentive, we have the Board of Investment of Thailand give the investment incentive to the foreigner investor that would like to invest in Thailand. We have tax exemption and also exemption of import duty on machinery and raw material. Not only that, and also for the EEC, we have a new incentive package that actually for this one, you also can contact to the Board of Investments of Thailand. Also, you can contact me if you are in Hong Kong, if you're interested to move to Thailand. And not only that, we also give you for the Smart Visa. For the Smart Visa, that we will give you the maximum of 4 years visa. For the strength of Thai, another thing is for the manufacturing expertise, that you already know the skill and workforce in Thailand are not only comparable to international standards, but also hard to match anywhere else in the world, as we call a Thailand's magic hands. We also experience for the trading skill, as we also launched for the Bangkok Gems and Jewelry Fair by the Department of International Trade Promotion for the 66th edition already, that is made well known all around the world. And the new one, we have the International Canterbury Gems and Jewelry Festival. This year for the second time in 2020, in the festival in December, from the 23rd to 27th of December this year. I hope by that time the COVID already gone, that you can visit to the International Canterbury Gem and Jewelry Festival. And the last is for the Bangkok Gem and Jewelry Fair this year. Because of the pandemic, so we have to move to the February on the 23rd to the 27th. However, we still have the special online edition to be held in the November from 2 to 4th of November. It's called the Special Edition on Ground to Online Exhibition that I hope all of you also can join with it. If you want to learn more opportunity about Thailand, actually Thai Trade Center in Hong Kong, we also have a project for the wellness and elderly care in August on the 27th, and for the property for Thailand property on the September 15th. So please feel free to contact me, and you can just scan on the QR code and just go to the Facebook of Thai Trade Center Hong Kong. That's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Chanunpat. After the initial technical glitch, it was a great overview, and it gives you really clear insight into Thai manufacturing and craftsmanship skills, which gives such great opportunities and hope ahead for Thai exports. I'm now going to go around the panel in turn and ask them a series of questions about their respective expertises. But before I do that, just to reiterate that the next edition of the trade show itself of the Bangkok Gems and Jewellery Fair will be between the 23rd and 27th of February 2021. But do watch out for the special online edition of the show in November. Firstly, I would like to turn to Mr. Kevin Ung. Kevin is the CEO of High Tech Jewellery Manufacture Limited, a member of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council and of its Jewellery Advisory Committee. Mr. Ung, hello, welcome today.
Hello, everyone.
How are you? How are things in Hong Kong? What's the weather like in Hong Kong today?
It's rainy today, but it means prosperous. So yeah, in Chinese. So
it's interesting. I'm sitting in London and it's actually very sunny here. So the tables are turned. Let me ask you about your experiences at the Bangkok Gems and Jewellery Fair. I know that you've attended on a number of occasions. How has it been for you?
Yeah, I was there 10 years ago and again last year, and I saw a lot of changes, especially in terms of the infrastructure, the setup, the traffic, and the creativity over there. There's a great improvement.
And I know that you looked carefully at the jewellery designer section. Could you tell me about your impressions of the breadth and range of jewellery design talent at the Bangkok Fair?
Yeah, we see a lot of designers coming from EU and also locally from Thailand. And we see they are very keen in using different technique, especially the Thai designers are specialized in casting or titanium coloring through heat treatment. And also we see a lot of silver makers because Thai is known for the craftsmanship for silver making.
Yeah. And what feedback did you receive from the designers at the Bangkok show? And where were the designers from? Were they from Thailand or other countries or a mix?
I see quite a few countries like Italy and Germany. The feedback that I got is they are quite excited about the exhibitions because firstly, the designer gallery is located right near the entrance of the show, and it drives a lot of traffic. Secondly, they have live branch set up and for the demonstration of the craftsmanship. So basically, the location for them is quite important, especially is in the entrance of the show. So they are quite happy about it.
You mentioned silver earlier. During the lockdown period and up until now, the gold price has rocketed. In fact, earlier this month, gold hit an all-time price high. Do you think that this can create opportunities for Thai silver jewellery manufacturing going forward? The fact that gold is so expensive, is this now a great moment for Thai silver jewellery exports potentially?
With the gold being skyrocket, record high. We believe there will be great potentials for the silver markets. We see a lot of changes recently with our orders being placed from gold, now changed to silver. So we see a lot of opportunities there, especially during this pandemic. Many of the factories are being affected. So I think there will also be a shift of manufacturing from our side.
Okay, so looking back at your experiences having visited the Bangkok Fair, what do you think about the opportunities there to source materials such as gemstones and also machinery? Is the Bangkok Fair a good opportunity for buyers to source an array of materials and to acquire state-of-the-art jewellery making machinery?
Yes, definitely. With Thai being the gem center, cutting center in the world, we can find, as a trader myself, I can basically find commercial, medium, and high qualities of gems like rubies, sapphires. And with the location of itself, the factory being so close to Bangkok, at the outskirts of Bangkok, basically we can have the parcel being delivered to the show upon our request the next day. So we see it's advantage at the moment. So yeah.
And what makes, in your view, the Bangkok Fair special compared with fairs offered by other countries? What is unique about the Bangkok Gems and Jewellery Fair in terms of its offering and the hospitality and so forth?
I think it's about the whole experience in terms of leisures and together with business activities going on. Because we've been to many of the different trade fairs around the world, like JCK in Vegas, Vicenza Fair in Italy, Basel in Swiss. As what I see from Thai, they can create such a leisure travel business experience in one stop. So like as a buyer, I would definitely go again.
And do you see possibilities going forward that factories, manufacturing facilities in mainland China and in Hong Kong could potentially move some of their operations into Thailand?
With the current situation here, with the conflict between China and US, we see a lot of US customer moving orders outside of China. And we believe that many of our fellows would move part of the assembly line to be based somewhere in Asian countries. So I think as what the director of Hong Kong Trade Development, Hong Kong Trade Thai Commissioner said, Bangkok should be considered as one of the most effective, efficient, and productive place available nearby China. Yeah.
And Thailand, of course, is right at the heart of ASEAN, which makes it presumably an attractive location.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, thanks so much for that. I'd like to move on next to Mr. Kenny Au, who is Deputy Chairman of the International Jewellery Designer Association. Mr. Au, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hi, how are you, David? Hi.
Good. Greetings from a sunny London this morning. I'd just like to ask you your view on how the lockdown period impacted upon creativity in jewellery design.
I think there's a big change of the jewelry design direction right now. Because right now, most of the people just buy the jewelry online, and they just looking for the price point. And also now we join the design, most of the things we think about is the price point and also the gold weight, and because of the high price of the gold. And then the jewelry on the website, on the online business, the customer, they cannot touch the jewelry, they're just looking on the screen. So that's why we need to have a nice design, and also the price point is have very sharp, and also we need to have a good presentation, good story to present the whole piece. This is the big change of our design directions.
And what was your own experience, professionally speaking, of the lockdown itself? How did it affect your business activities and those of other businesses around you?
I think one of the most important things, or the big change, is the model making. Is after we design the jewelry, we send out the design sketches to the factory. Most of the factories is in China, but we cannot go to the China to follow up the model making. Now we just only can use the online meeting, or using the 3D CAD/CAM software to follow up, to control the model making. That's a difficult part for me, and also this is a big change. And now we just only can see on the screen to confirm the phototype. That's it.
Okay, we talked earlier about the dynamics of the precious metals markets, the fact that gold has been soaring. Silver prices have also risen, but not to anywhere near to the extent that gold prices have risen. Do you find that this will create new opportunities for the use of unusual materials in jewellery design? Are you seeing any evidence of this so far? And if so, what types of materials?
Before, when I worked with my own business, I have experience to work with the enamel jewelry. At that time, I'm working on the silver jewelry and have an enamel coating on the top. This I want to make some more colorful things to, instead of the precious stone or semi-precious stone. And you know, the traditional enamel is not easy to control. And I just ordered the raw material of the enamel coating from Italy. That kind of the raw material is easy to control. And even the color, even the temperature is easy to control. And also the finishing piece is very, very, very nice. Yeah.
And in terms of gemstone demand through the lockdown and now coming out of lockdown, what trends have you seen in demand for gemstones in the Hong Kong market? And what is also the general perception of Thai manufactured colored gemstones in the Hong Kong market?
I think that the precious stone like the ruby, sapphire, or emerald like that is still very popular in Hong Kong. But another things, I think that semi-precious stone, something like the turmeric, pink turmeric, something like that, is become popular, because more of the people, they can see that from the magazine, the new trend of the jewelry from these few years, the color is quite popular. And also the semi-precious stone, most of the Hong Kong and China people, they can accept the semi-precious stone much more than the ruby and sapphire, the precious stone. Yeah, because the price point.
And what would you say in terms of the Hong Kong market is the perception or reputation of Thai craftsmanship, skills and manufacturing capabilities? How are they regarded in the trade in Hong Kong?
You mean
the Thai craftsmanship and manufacturing? How are they considered in the Hong Kong market? What is the opinion of the skills of Thai craftspeople and manufacturing capabilities?
I think that because the Hong Kong is the gateway to China, and also most of the Hong Kong people now they're looking for some silver jewelry because the price point of the gold jewelry setting with the diamonds is a little bit high, and also the silver jewelry with some of the semi-precious stone silver jewelry is very fashionable, and I think this is a big opportunities of the Thai factory to do the business.
And can you elaborate a little bit about Hong Kong as a gateway to mainland China, the importance of Hong Kong in that regard, and what that can potentially mean for exports of Thai manufactured gemstones and jewellery, not only into Hong Kong, but beyond into the mainland Chinese market?
You know, the mainland China market is little bit different from the other countries. Most of the China people, they like the pure gold, but now they change it a little bit. They can accept a little bit more of the 18-karat gold and 14-karat gold, starting with the diamonds and also the semi-precious stone. And the other things is the silver jewelry. As I said before, the silver jewelry sets with the semi-precious stone is more fashionable, and also the price is more acceptable. So I think if the Thai factory or the Thai company, they want to do the business with the Hong Kong or China people, they can think about of the gem set silver jewelry.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that contribution, Mr. Au, greatly appreciated. I'd just like to invite the viewers to please do submit questions on the Q&A channel, because we are going to have a Q&A session at the end of our presentations today. Looking forward to the outlook for Hong Kong Thai gemstone and jewellery trade. I'd now like to introduce everybody to Mr. Phuket, who is Managing Director of Gemburi Company Limited. Mr. Phuket, welcome.
Hi. Good
How are you
afternoon,
today?
everybody. Fine.
Very good. Well, very glad that you're with us today. I'd like to ask you, there have been a number of studies and trends reports showing an increasing appetite for colours, bright and joyful colours in gemstone designs, almost, if you like, an obsession with colour among consumers, particularly, say, millennial and Gen Z consumers. How do you think the Thai gemstone and jewellery industry can take advantage of this opportunity, of this increased obsession with colour, by marketing more effectively to international markets?
Yeah, I'm happy to hear this. Okay. So first of all, Thailand dominates more than 50% of color gemstone production worldwide. And to be more specific, as you know, I believe more than 95% of ruby, for example, from Burma and Mozambique, cut in Thailand. And I believe the blue sapphire, we cut about 70% of the supply worldwide. The reason behind this is that Thailand has long experience in buying rough stone, heating and cutting. I think more than 40 years. I'm sorry, I'm the second generation. Since I born, I see my father doing Thai ruby in my hometown, Chanthaburi. And I see the cutting, I see the factory every day. I know they are all the experts. And since after we running out of the material locally, all these people going overseas to Africa, to Sri Lanka, to Burma to buy rough stone. And they cut, heat, doing everything in Thailand. This is the main reason that we are kind of very good in gemstone manufacturing. The second reason, which is very important, is that our Thai government really support gemstone industry. They come up with the many tax benefit, like we don't have any duty on import rough stone, we don't have VAT on buying rough. Also, the other ministry, like Ministry of Commerce, by Department of International Trade Promotion, and also the Thai Trade Center around the world, really promote trading for the gemstone a lot. Yeah, this is the main reason that Thailand is the right place to buy color gemstone. Yeah.
And do you think, in a way, the pandemic, because of the psychological impact it's had on people around the world, and all the worries people have, strangely enough, it's going to trigger an appetite for sort of joyful combinations of color in jewellery. Do you think this is, strangely enough, a great moment of opportunity for the Thai gemstone exports?
You know, for the moment, if the pandemic, this is not longer than we expected, I believe we're gonna have a significant rate of recovery or the demand after the pandemic. I can see from my own company experience for the past 2 months, they are increasing order from everywhere around the world, especially from China. You know, like I believe the local market in China is moving. I believe I heard from my friend in China, my customer in China, like the local market for the gems trading moving around, pick up about 60 or 70% at least for now. And just 10 minutes ago, I just received WeChat from my customer request for the very important stone, something like that. I believe after the pandemic, everything gonna be better than we thought. Yeah.
That's very encouraging, and I can say from my end, somebody who covers the high value auctions market in jewellery, that there's been very robust demand for colour gemstones at the very top end of that market. For example, Sotheby's in late April, at the height of the lockdown, sold a Cartier Tutti Frutti, very high colour gemstone bracelet, an Art Deco piece for $1.3 million, which was a world record price at that time for any jewel sold online at auction. Before I ask you the next question, I just want to quickly say to viewers, we're going to run that video again a bit later. We had some sound issues earlier, but we're going to run it just before the Q&A. Mr. Phuket, let me ask you next. How do you see, if you like, the colored gemstone business changing as we emerge out of this lockdown? I mean, how will the dynamics of colored gemstone trade evolve going forward?
I believe,
particularly given that people are obviously, in some cases, less willing or able to travel. I mean, does this create new opportunities for digital technologies in colored gemstone trading?
Yes, I believe digital technology will take important part for the trading from now on. You know, in the beginning of pandemic, like let's say in China, we have this problem in January, right? And now worldwide has the crazy problem about this pandemic. We are expecting to sell the stone during the gem show in June in Hong Kong. No, it's not possible. Or even in September, not possible. Even in Bangkok show or in Hong Kong. And we don't know how it's gonna be getting better. So I think the digital platform or digital technology can help for the selling. But importantly, like every company have to know their product, how to communicate their product to the end user. Gemstone business is not like a diamond. Like you say, you can just order what color, what clarity is easy, and you can just compare the price. But for the color stone, different country has different taste of the color. For example, Japanese maybe love a little pink ruby. China market maybe need the pigeon blood or the deeper color. It's different. In European, they not prefer the dark color because of the weather there. Make the stone become darker. They prefer a little lighter ruby, for example. So this digital platform or maybe how to communicate digitally to your customer is difficult. This is why you have to study your product. Yeah.
So among ideas that I know are being thought about are the possibilities, if you like, of having a digital buyer-seller meeting, perhaps hosted by a trade fair. Do you think that could possibly have potential, or hosting Zoom meetings in which buyer communicate with seller and the seller showcases the colored gemstone and the colored gemstone jewelry in a Zoom meeting using camera technology, showing the product to the buyer? Do you think these are areas that can be explored further, that have potential, and can the Bangkok Fair be the host of potentially of this kind of initiative?
Yeah, of course, I believe so because of the, you know, the advance of the technology. We cannot do that 10 years ago, but by now it's easy. I give you some example, like Chanunpat mentioned earlier that we have the Gemburi International Games Show last year, the first time internationally. We have some customer from China come to our show and use just mobile phone, you know, take video selecting the stone, selling on WeChat immediately. Or even in Hong Kong show, many of my customers come to my booth, you use just WeChat, take the video, talk to customer, send, and you know, they can pay up to maybe $100,000 stone without seeing the real stone. Yeah, so it's very potential, and you know, like I think all organization have to come up with such easier platform for this selling. Thank you.
So technology is very much the way forward, but there's still a need for networking, physical networking and physical interaction between buyer and seller who know each other at every possible opportunity. So let's hope that the situation of the coronavirus pandemic eases up as soon as possible. One last thing, Mr. Phuket, if I may ask you, I had spoken with Mr. Ung earlier about the possibility that manufacturing facilities, companies in Hong Kong and mainland China could consider relocating some of their operations to Thailand. Just wondering what your thoughts are about that. Do you think Thailand would be an effective hub for manufacturing for such companies?
Yeah, I can answer this into two categories. Okay, one thing is like every investor who come to Thailand need the government support or maybe the trade benefit like the tax or something like that, which we already have. You know, for example, we have the Gemopolis, we have the Board of Investment, which you can just set up factory easily. And I can tell you there are big tax benefit compared to every local Thai. The second thing, if you make something, you need to be close to the supply. Okay. For the diamond, gold, silver, you can order anywhere. But if you come to Thailand, you sit next to the source of color gemstone. You know, like I myself have the gemstone factory partner with Japanese company in Gemburi. They move some part to Thailand from other country because they think they can just do design. Just see the stone, what we have, and they do the design. On the other hand, in the old way, and just purchase gemstone to do jewelry by the design of the designer. Sometimes, you know, I give you some example. I have the request plenty of stone for one production, which is not possible. I can say, you come Gemburi or you come to Thailand, see what we have, you decide what we have, because gemstone, we cannot do like the iPhone. It's very rare, the material is very rare. So it's the reason that everybody who come to Thailand to do the factory will have two way of benefit, one from the government, one from the way that you stay really close for the supply with the supplier. Yeah.
So really, in a sense, Thailand is offering the perfect combination. You've got the manufacturing skill sets, the craftsmanship honed over generations. You've got the supply of rare color gemstone materials and the cutting capabilities. And on top of that, you've got all the tax benefits. So this is something that manufacturers need to think about carefully, relocating operations to Thailand.
Yeah, and also leisure also.
Yes,
the same as business trip. Yeah. Okay.
You know, beaches and hospitality, tourism facilities and so forth. Fantastic. Well,
I'm
thank
going
you
to
so
the
much
beach
for
after
that.
the meeting.
Yes, we're all virtual. It'd be a shame we can't just transplant ourselves over to a beach in Thailand right now.
All right.
I'd just like to thank you for that and then move on to speak with Mr. Henry Ho, who is president of the Bangkok Diamonds and Precious Stones Exchange. Henry, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
How are you
Very
today?
happy to be. Yes.
Very good. Let me just ask you a general question. The pandemic has clearly overturned the world. Do you feel this has created an opportunity for consumers to buy, if you like, joyful combinations of color in gemstones and in gem set jewelry?
Yes, I feel that the pandemic has caused people to have some frustrations, and they have this pent-up wish to really splurge on these trinkets. I myself know several people that have given me orders to local.
And the pandemic, has it, what kind of digital opportunities for gemstone trade do you foresee as a result of the pandemic? We've clearly seen during the crisis the acceleration in the use of digital technologies across the global jewellery and gemstone trade. What opportunities do you see for digital technologies to be increasingly used for the benefit of Thai gemstone and jewellery exports? Oh, you need to unmute. Can you unmute?
Yes, I have unmuted. Okay, once again, at this very moment, we are speaking to several technology companies who have provided platforms for us. Our own Jewelry Trade Center building, we are thinking of building an e-commerce platform, and also in the short and long of it, we want to make the building a smart and digital company. So we're going through a transformational stage of going digital in every aspect of our daily lives.
Well, that's really exciting. That's a great piece of news. Can you elaborate a little bit about that? Tell us a bit more. And I know you have many gemstone suppliers in the Jewellery Trade Center on Silom Road in Bangkok. They presumably will be increasingly engaged digitally, will they? To showcase their product and potentially export it, and the JTC will be helping those suppliers to showcase their product?
Yes, we are creating an awareness, and we're creating an educational program for them to become more familiar with software. For instance, we are giving them a package of CRM to follow up on the customers, so they know about customer follow-ups and how to use the relational management software. We are also providing them an ERP inventory software so that they are aware of what they have. And from this inventory program, you can easily click and it will go under the trading program where we can buy and sell. In fact, because our Jewelry Trade Center is very much involved with the central department store, they have a very large database of consumers who remain to be very active, and they wish to tap into our market. So I'm extending the platform to a B2C as well as a B2B. So I see a lot of opportunities using digital technology here.
And will the Jewellery Trade Center be using social media marketing platforms like Instagram increasingly to showcase Thai manufactured gemstones and jewellery?
Yes, we use social platforms as well. We have specialists who monitor and analyze data, and we try to maximize the contact points and the conversion points.
Okay, very good. Well, that's quite a piece of news today. So thank you so much for that, and wish the JTC all the best with that. Turning to sustainability, which is an issue increasingly at the forefront, I know, of many consumers' minds. How important do you feel that a sustainable supply chain is in colored gemstones? And do you feel that the Thai industry is increasingly moving in the direction of trying to ensure that the entire supply chain from mine to finger is as sustainable as it possibly can be?
I think the intention is there, and it's quite obvious that the supply chain is very important part, and Thailand plays a very critical role in the processing of jewelry and designs. So last evening we had a discussion with Demopolis, and we're thinking of creating a warehouse for gemstones, rough gemstones, all varieties, so that manufacturers, designers, and dealers can have easy access. So that, I think, is the basis of how to continue this supply chain and make it more efficient and more colorful and more dynamic, I guess.
So in the case of that warehouse, the origin of those stones is fully known and documented, is it? So the entire journey of the gemstone would be known?
Yes, we're using blockchain technology and smart contracts. So as much as we can trace and track, we will do so. But that would be for the more expensive materials. For the cheaper ones, will be not feasible to be tracking them.
Yeah, well, that's really encouraging, and the fact that the Thai industry is using blockchain shows that it's right at the forefront of technology. Increasingly, several studies have shown of millennial and also Gen Z consumer behavior that they really do want to know the entire journey of gemstones from mine to finger. They want to know where the gems came from, and that no body was exploited at any stage in the supply chain, and that the environment was not degraded any more than absolutely necessary. Presumably you strongly support this notion that responsible sourcing where possible is the ideal way forward for the industry?
Yes, well, I'm very aware of all the movements, and recently there was a creation of a Colorstone community platform where all the branded jewelry brands have joined the platform in order to filter the suppliers and make sure that all the suppliers meet the KYC and MLO and the 17 UN SDGs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so important, and the fact that Thailand is fully engaged in this, you know, aiming for responsible sourcing at every possible level and supporting the sustainable development goals will be critical to ensuring that the best possible business outlook also for Thai gemstone and jewelry industry, which is the third largest export earner of the Thai economy. So if I could ask you, Henry, regarding diamonds, what are the prospects for growth of the Thai diamond sector, and in which segments of the market?
I think the opportunities for growing the diamond business here in the ASEAN country is tremendous. We are growing. We are one of the fastest growing area in the world, for economically speaking. And I've spoken to Yoram Vash, the president of the World Federation of Diamond Bosses, how to extend the B2B platform into a B2C, so that the 650 million people here, plus a couple of billion people, neighbors around us, can tap into the supply chain.
Okay. So there was a discussion earlier about tax policy, the fact that Thailand over the years has worked very hard to create a favorable tax regime to encourage the gemstone business. Do you see any potential changes in tax policy that would benefit even further the Thai gemstone, diamond and jewellery export sectors?
Yes, I see that it's critical that the government and the private sector work together, especially two of the most important segments are the silver people and the gemstones people. The silver people are trying to get the same kind of treatment as the gold people without too many barriers, and allow the smaller dealers to participate in the policies that the Thai government has allowed. I think more and more we'd have to try to work together and learn from both Hong Kong and Singapore.
And just finally, if I may ask you, we're living through a time, apart from the virus, of heightened trade tensions between the United States and China. What are your feelings about possibilities for Hong Kong and Chinese factories, manufacturing facilities to relocate to Thailand? Did you think Thailand offers the right kind of mix of skills and infrastructure for manufacturing facilities from Hong Kong?
I think Thailand is it's a wonderful country, and it's good in so many aspects. It's very diverse. It's got the talent pool, and it is ready to receive any companies, Hong Kong and other places. But we welcome them with open arms. I see a tremendous opportunity in this area.
Because Thailand has the full offering, doesn't it? The manufacturing capability, the craftsmanship, the tax benefits, the provision of materials, and the skilled labor.
It's all the combination of small parts that makes the whole very, very attractive.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for that. So now, before we go into the Q&A, we're going to have another go at showing the video of the Bangkok Gems and Jewellery Fair. So let's watch the video. We'd now like to move across to the Q&A, and I would like to invite viewers, and we've got very good attendance today, I see, to please submit questions on the Q&A function, just on the Q&A function, please. And I'd just like to start off with a question from Jose Bolak. We were referring earlier to the opportunities for exports of Thai silver jewellery in this period due to the surge in gold prices. Gold has become extraordinarily costly now. Gold hit an all-time high in price earlier this month and is potentially going to be testing unprecedented areas around $2,000 per ounce in the coming weeks. This creates an opportunity for silver, for Thai silver exports. Jose is asking what kinds of design combinations involving silver that we could potentially see with colored gemstones. For example, are we going to see more combinations of silver with aquamarine, colored sapphires, even with diamonds? I'd like to ask particularly Mr. Ao for your views on this. I mean, what sort of unusual combinations potentially can we see involving silver with colored gemstones? And if you could give a few potential examples of the sorts of combinations that you think would be attractive in jewelry designs. We need to unmute.
Okay, you hear me right now? Okay,
that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, I think that the color combination of the semi-precious stone, one of the good choices that one of the good choice is semi-precious stone is a tamarind. Moving to Hong Kong and China, people like the different kind of the color of the tamarind. And the other thing is the color sapphire. And the yellow sapphire, pink sapphire is quite popular in Hong Kong and China right now. And the other things I think is some can be with the topaz or emphasis with the center stone and all around setting with some different colors of like the yellow sapphire to have different combinations. They will be becoming very nice.
Okay, thank you very much. Would any other panelists like to come in on that? Please do so if you wish to answer. Mr. Phuket? No, okay. We have a question from Evert de Greve asking, and I think this question would be for Henry, is there a lab-grown diamond infrastructure or facility in Thailand? Is there any, say, manufacturing of lab-grown diamonds in Thailand? And what potential do you think there could be for manufacturing of lab-grown diamonds in Thailand?
There's a lot of talk about lab-grown diamonds here, but they're not yet organized yet. We haven't really we haven't seen them yet. But there's a lot of talk about traditional dealers switching to lab-grown diamonds. I believe in the future that we will have such a business, but it will be totally segregated, so we separate from our traditional suppliers. Yeah.
If I could ask Mrs. Chanunpat to give your views on what you feel are the main strengths of the Thai gemstone and jewellery industry, and if you were to sum up how you feel that the trading relationship between Thailand and Hong Kong can develop in the best ways forward, how do you see the outlook for this trade? We need to unmute, please.
For the trade relationship between Thailand and Hong Kong for the gems and jewelry business is always very good indeed, because as I told you that we also have the very good for the government support, and we also have strategic partnership with Hong Kong, like for like G2G and also for the B2B. Even like for the many of the association, we can work together. And also I can see that for the import and export for Thailand and Hong Kong, actually is important, very important figure that you can see. Hong Kong is our important destination, yes. And I think like Kevin and Kenny, and they are also our best counterpart for the gems and jewelry business between Thailand and Hong Kong too.
Okay, we have a question again for Mrs. Chanunpat. When will the next webinar be? Is DITP planning further webinars in the weeks ahead?
For the webinar for the DITP in Hong Kong, right?
Just, you know, I guess for the industry. Is DITP planning further webinars?
Oh yeah,
question
but
she's asking.
but for I mean for the Bangkok Gems and Jewelry, they have online on the November 2nd to 4th. However, for the DITP Hong Kong, we also have the webinar on the wellness and property in Thailand, as Mr. Phuket, Mr. Phuket, that he mentioned. Thailand is not a place only for the business, that you also can just like invest here, working here, like to relocate to Thailand, but we also that like it's the place that you can have a very good life, happiness, and we have a very good wellness to take care of you. And also for the property, that's why right now I promote on this matter for the wellness and property. The wellness will be on the 15th on the 27th of August, and for the Thai property webinar will be 15th of September. So don't miss it. Thank you.
Great, well, thanks so much. So I'd just like to thank everybody, all the panelists for joining us today. It's been a very wide-ranging discussion and quite educational, looking at the breadth and range of the Thai gem and jewellery export industry and the outlook for a really important trading relationship, which is that with the Hong Kong market, and of course the great importance of Hong Kong as a gateway to China. And clearly we've emphasized the great supreme skills of Thai gem and jewellery craftsmanship honed over generations, and indeed the state-of-the-art manufacturing capabilities that make Thailand now a very attractive place for manufacturing facilities from Hong Kong and mainland China to relocate to. And also the tax benefits that Thailand offers to the gem and jewellery industry, and the sheer availability of precious materials from metals to gemstones in the country, all of which, combined with the fabulous hospitality, of course, for which Thailand is so well known, make the country a great place from which to continue to take every possible opportunity to boost exports of gemstones and jewellery. It's the third biggest export generator for the Thai economy, accounting for well over $10 billion a year of income. So very important sector for Thailand. Mrs. Chanunpat, thank you so much for organizing all of this. We appreciate the time and the opportunity. Thank you so much, all the panelists, for joining today. And stay safe, everybody.
Okay, thank you. สวัสดีค่ะ
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.